Hi there, so it's Monday 22nd of June. We're still in the halfway through the lockdown or ease down, whatever you want to call it. This is my daily update on the news, and because we're the Finance Lounge, I thought I'd stick with my first topic being finance related. Now, I've just been watching Sky News most of the day, and there was a meeting, or they interviewed the Governor of the Bank of England, Andrew Bailey, and also present in that meeting was that other idiot, Sajid Javid, who was our ex-Chancellor, who more or less bottled it when the going got tough. A couple of days before the COVID thing was announced, the coronavirus. So as far as I'm concerned, he's got no credibility whatsoever. Bottled it when he was needed the most. As for Andrew Bailey, well, I'll come back to that. And the whole purpose of the meeting, or this interview today, was to tell us that they had the Bank of England had to bail out the UK government due to COVID-19. Now, I hate to say this, right, but we knew this was going to happen. I mean, where were the government going to get all this money from? There's nobody paying any taxes, there's no revenues coming in, so where the hell do you think they were going to get the money from? And I really think that either the press or the BBC and Sky and all these sort of people think we are all stupid, and they put this interview out to say, oh, by the way, did you realise that we had to get bailed out by the Bank of England? That's how serious it was. We know already how serious this thing is, right? You don't have to be a bloody Dr. Spock to know how this, or Mr. Spock, to know how serious this situation is. It doesn't take Sherlock Holmes to tell us we're all in great lumber, we're all stuffed, right? And they talk about, there was another guy on the news today who's talking about the impending or the pending global recession. We've been in a bloody global recession since January. It's only idiots like that who come back and to try and get press headlines now due to COVID-19 to come back and tell us, oh, there is going to be a world recession. We know that. We're already in the world recession. We're sitting in the bloody house doing nothing. We're not earning any money. You idiots, right? This is for all these guys at BBC and ITV and Sky. They really must think we're complete doodads, idiots, right? And then they talk about the recession, and then there's going to be a recovery. The recovery might take a year. The recovery is not going to take a year. The recovery is going to take many years, right? If you think about it, from 2007, 2008, how long did it take us to recover from that? And that was only minuscule compared to what we're going through at the moment. Yeah? So to turn around, and then this Andrew Bailey, a complete prick, right, as far as I'm concerned, he comes out and talks about, oh, a lot of businesses won't survive. We know that already. A lot of businesses are fucked already. They're already down the tubes, right? Don't tell us there's a lot of good businesses won't survive this and that. Right, that's fine. Now, what really pisses me off about these politicians and bankers or whatever is they're getting their wages. Yeah, they're sitting there getting their wages. The reporters are getting their wages. They don't realise what it's like out there in the real world. Yeah, so I've had enough. And this is my uptake from today watching the news. I'll come back to other stuff tomorrow as well, because really that's been the whole thing about the news. Oh, we had to get bailed out. We knew the money wasn't going to come out of thin air. Somebody had to pay for it, and who else is going to pay for it apart from the Bank of England? Yeah, and to come out and spend a whole day of a press conference or an interview just to tell us what we already knew was happening. And then they make it up, and he's sitting there, yes, it's going to be difficult going forward, a lot of business. He's getting his bloody wages. He doesn't give a shit. He's not going to suffer the recession. He's going to sit there and talk a lot of shit like he does every day of the week. Same as, and to put an idiot like Sajid Javid, Yellow Belly, in there, right, who bottled it when we probably needed him the most. He got one of the most important jobs, and then he realised that he's not up for it. Now, you can't tell me that it was a coincidence that he just left. Yeah, I must admit, Rishi Sunak, he's doing the best he can with what he's got, right? But to actually make idiots of us today, spend a whole day telling us what we knew already, and then to come back and say, oh, by the way, businesses are suffering. The businesses have suffered already, right? We know that. And to tell us then a lot of companies won't survive this. A lot of companies already gone down the tubes. So you don't need to tell us that shit and spend the whole day of our life telling us what we already know. I'm going to come back to you tomorrow because this has really riled me. I'm sorry, but this has really pissed me off, like, right? And I'm going to tell you from my heart what I think every day, and also the reasons behind it. Today was just the start, because if you actually look at it carefully, you can actually join the dots, and it becomes to make sense why they're making a complete and utter fool of everybody in this country. In fact, they're making a fool of everybody in the world. And right now, they made a complete fool of us today. But I think if people actually looked at it carefully and read into it a wee bit more, they actually can realise that they're creating their own narrative, right? They're making their own story. And until you realise that, the rest doesn't make sense. So for them to waste a whole day with us, telling us what we already know, that basically the country's fucked. And we know that already. Why spend a whole day telling us that? All you're doing is depressing people even more. If you like the channel,